Hey guys, what's going on? In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a couple of theories on what I think is happening with the cube, the giant purple blob thing in Fortnite. So if you want to know them, just carry on watching this video. I'm not going to make it too long, but it might be a bit longer than some of my other videos. So the first theory I've got, which has kind of been throughout now, just because the movement of the cube itself is moved more towards Fatal. I got a clip of it, I'll put it on screen. And it moved as I was about to record the commentary for the first theory, so I'll just briefly go over it. So basically what I thought was that it started in Season 4, where the Visitor came, or the Time Traveler, the Blockbuster skin, that guy. He came in a meteor when all the basic story mode and everything has gone on, and the rocket's built and he tries to send it off. I think that he tried to send himself in the rocket, skipping a dimension or a universe, whatever you want to call it, and then the rocket enters another dimension, breaking time and causing all the rifts and everything to come through. And then getting back into Season 5, Drift is brought through one of the rifts, and then over the weeks, like, you can see the loading screens, they change and Rift is slowly gaining power. You can tell by the change in his outfits. And so, fast forward into week 7, I believe it is, that we're currently on, where the Enforcers kind of, like, they came through the rifts. You can see on screen that they're at the motel. What I think happened is that they came through being space police, and when they came through, they landed near Drift, and then they're using him to try and maybe get to the Time Traveler. And then after that, they've tried closing as many rifts as possible. The rifts are slowly going, and the rift in the top of the sky is just completely disappeared now. Now with the introduction of the cube, which is like I think it's portal to a space prison or a space prison cell, which is where they're wanting to put the Time Traveler. And if you've watched Rick and Morty, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you will have, like, they get, in one of the episodes, they get caught in space prison and basically go into alternate universes. And so from here, like, it looked, at this time, it looked like the cube was moving towards the center of the map. And obviously the divot's close to the center, and the divot is also where the Time Traveler landed. And then the Enforcers try and work with Drift, explaining Time Traveler how he can get back to Earth. When the cube was rotating, obviously it's rotated away now, but as it was rotating, it looked like it was going to go near Salty and where the meteor landed, and then maybe try and lead the Time Traveler to the center of the map where he came in, thinking that maybe he can get back that way, getting caught in the prison cell cube thing, and then basically him being caught in the cell. And then when it comes to week 9, which is a couple of weeks from now, he tries to, like, that's when he gets caught. And then in week 10, he tries to escape. The cube opens, like, it starts to crack and stuff, breaking open, causing a giant rift, sucking, well, a reverse rift, I guess it would be, sucking in the map or throwing objects out of the map as, like, new places, and maybe part of the map being past and part of the map being future, blah blah blah. So guys, my second theory is a bit more crazy, and it's a lot more refined. It's got less loopholes basically. And this second theory is, like, the cube is somewhat of a, like, the Tesseract from the Marvel series, which, if you didn't know, is a 4D cube what contains a lot of power, and that's really all we know about it. But the cube itself in Fortnite does seem to have a lot of power, because it can basically kill you instantly, and it can send you flying across the map. I know, I think it was Drifter, he did a video explaining, like, the 4D cube and everything. And if you go inside of the cube in Fortnite, and you can still do this, I'll put a clip on screen if I do get one. You can go inside of the cube and see that there's multiple cubes inside of each other, basically making it 4D. So this is a similar start to the theory of, like, theory number 1, and that's the Enforcers come through time to capture something. Not necessarily the Time Traveler in this one, but they come through to capture the cube. Maybe the cube is like a ultimate badass evil guy. So now, from what you can see on screen, the cube has moved more towards Fatal. I personally think that it's going to move into Fatal, destroy the barns and stuff like that, not completely wipe Fatal out of the map just because we got rid of Anarchy Acres, so we wouldn't really want to get rid of both. But I do think it's going to cause some damage in there, whether it's to the structures there, or if it's just damaging the environment, taking all the trees out. I don't know yet, honestly. We've just got to wait for it to move. That's the only way we're really going to get a more confirmed theory on what's going on. So from here, it kind of takes a bit of a turn. If you go down the side of the hit, like, it looks like the cube is following the road, or the path, whatever you want to call it. And it looks like it's going to start following that line, coming towards the bridge, realizing that it can't get over, and then maybe move up the side of as if it was going towards Shifty Shafts along that road. So basically, I think it's gonna, once it's caused havoc in Fatal Fields, if it does, I think it's gonna start moving towards Shifty Shafts, and once it gets to the bridge, then I think it's gonna take a right near the rift spot, near Salty, and then just carry on moving up the road, going through the middle of the field, what I like to call mental field, because it's literally where it's the center of the map. It's where everyone gets killed mid-game and everything like that if the circle is there. So from, like, as it's moving through the field, I think it's gonna start to evolve a little bit. It's gonna get a bit more powerful. It's gonna be a more vibrant purple, and maybe shooting off little bits of lightning strikes and whatnot. Just coming off of the cube like it were when it landed, just the little bits we had coming out. And the same as it would be if you get hit by the cube. Like, if you hit the cube and the lightning strike comes off, like that, but constantly, so people can't interfere with it. Just a little weird thing that I've literally just came up with on the spot. It's a force field for itself to make sure that no one can stop the cube, and it's an unstoppable force. So, once it's moved past Salty, through the field and everything, I think it's going to move up towards the edge of Loot Lake. And the reason I say this is because if you watched a video or played at the beginning of the season, I'm not sure if it's still there now. I'm pretty sure it is, because it was a couple of weeks ago. But if you go over Loot Lake on the battle bus, you can somewhat see a pyramid in the water, what wasn't there in Season 4. And I've always had like a bit of a theory on what's going on with that. I feel like it's going to come out of the water, but I'll get to that in a second. So once it approaches Loot Lake and it gets to the edge, I think it's going to destroy the trees in its path and then roll into Loot Lake. And at some point, like, week 9 is 10 days from now. And I don't know if you paid attention to this, but every time the cube rotates, it's an hour and 43 minutes apart, which I worked out with some very hard math, that it'll rotate 139 times by week 9, which, well, that's roughly anyway, but which 139 times sounds realistic to get to Loot Lake, or it might be a bit more, it might be a bit less. They might shorten the time that it rotates, or, you know, something along those lines. So once it's in Loot Lake, I feel like it's gonna kind of summon the pyramid, and like the cube gradually opens up, and as the cube opens up, the pyramid kind of comes up through Loot Lake, and kind of cutting half of Loot Lake, and it makes it like half land, half water. Just something along those lines. It might not be that exactly, it might not be this theory at all, but it's just a personal theory I have got. So once it's fully opened, and in the week 9 loading screen, I have a strong feeling that if this theory is correct or on the right lines, Drifty's gonna try and, like, Drift and his little team of goons are gonna try and confront the pyramid, and out of the pyramid or out of the cube will come Ragnarok. And they basically get into a fight. And if you didn't know already, Ragnarok is basically the final destruction of the world, which I'll explain this in a couple of minutes, but is kind of mind-blowing, to be honest. So, like, once they're fighting, like, Epic will probably do a cutscene or something for this, but they fight, and then like that kind of makes sense why the season's called Worlds Collide. It's like modern and ancient times kind of come against each other, and the opposite worlds, the opposite universes kind of come together, collide, fight, and it just in total it explains the season name Worlds Collide. And this theory, I have been talking to a couple of guys on Reddit, and they understand the Worlds Collide theory and how basically it's modern versus ancient. Going on to week 10, the Enforcers try and they get involved with the Drift fight and the Ragnarok fight, and over this time Drift unlocks like a final form which we're yet to see. I think it's gonna be like a big drift, like a giant drift, not huge but kind of opposing Ragnarok in like the size of how buff they are. And then they're gonna kind of have another fight, and by this time I'm assuming that everyone will have unlocked the Ragnarok skin, and everyone who has unlocked the Ragnarok skin is nearly maxed here on it, and it makes sense that them two skins are fighting. And then as these two skins are fighting, the Enforcers try and end the fight, but kind of make it worse, because they break time, I guess you could say, and then sending either everyone into the future and creating a new map, like say Tilted Towers is Tilted Towers, but it's all like extremely modern with huge glass skyscrapers and everything like that. Or it's going to have modern parts of the map, some of the pieces of the map what was in the game before, like Salty Factories, Dusty Depot, stuff like that. That's all going to be repaired, but we're going to see modern features to the map. So it's a twist of the new map and a twist with the old map. It's a bit of a clusterfuck, I guess you could explain it. And yeah, that's basically my theory. If you guys have any theories, be sure to leave them as a comment. I do love reading theories and getting involved in game theories. It's just something I've always liked to do. Any theories in general, really. But if you guys have enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe down below, as you always do. And I'll see you guys in the next bloody video.